If someone asked me what trust looks like in a marriage, I would have pointed to 1,000 tiny things: the way she'd hand me my coffee in the morning without saying a word, the way we never hid our phones, or how she always handled our bills because, in her words, money stresses you out, babe. And it was true. I hated numbers. She loved spreadsheets. So early on in our marriage, I handed over the reins: banking, budgeting, savings. Teamwork, she said, and I believed her. But looking back, I wasn't handing her responsibility. I was handing her power, and she knew exactly what to do with it. It started small. Tiny inconsistencies I shrugged off. A bank statement that never arrived in the mail. A credit card charge I didn't recognize, but when I asked her, she always had an answer, always calm, always believable. "Oh, I switched everything to digital-less clutter," she said one time. Another time, when I noticed a weird $250 purchase from a spa I'd never heard of, she laughed and said it was a gift for her sister. I never thought to double-check. Why would I? She was my wife, my person. I thought we were building a life together. But that illusion shattered the day I got a call from our accountant. He said we were late on our quarterly tax payment. That made no sense. We'd always been early. I asked him to resend the documents, and when I looked them over, I noticed something strange. The business account, the one we set up together for my freelance work, had multiple transfers to an external account I'd never seen before. At first, I thought it was fraud. Maybe we'd been hacked. But when I read the account holder's name, my heart dropped. It was her name, her full name. I didn't say anything that night. I watched her cook dinner like nothing was wrong. She talked about weekend plans, asked what movie I wanted to watch. I smiled. I nodded. But inside, I was spiraling. Why did she have a secret account? What was she hiding? That night, after she fell asleep, I got up and quietly went through her laptop. I felt disgusting doing it, but I needed answers. I opened her browser and checked the history. Banking login, money transfer. Search terms like how to hide accounts from your spouse. My hands were shaking. I dug deeper, found a folder buried in her email labeled consulting. But she didn't do consulting. Inside were invoices, fake ones, from fake clients. Each one marked paid and deposited into that same secret account. That's when it hit mesh. Wasn't just hiding money. She was laundering it, moving funds from our business into a private stash using fake names. And she'd been doing it for over a year. I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there next to her, staring at the ceiling, wondering how many dinners we'd shared while she secretly funneled money away behind my back. I kept thinking, why? Was she planning to leave me? Was she already gone emotionally and just waiting to be gone physically too? Or worse, was there someone else? The next morning, I acted normal. I kissed her on the forehead, told her I'd be working from a coffee shop, and left. But instead of coffee, I went to the bank. I needed access to everything. I told the banker I was co-owner of the account she was pulling money from and requested full statements from the last 18 months. What I saw made my stomach twist. Regular withdrawals, always just under the threshold that would flag the bank. Transfers to the same secret account every 2 or 3 weeks. She had moved nearly $38,000. That wasn't saving for a surprise kind of money. That was exit strategy money. I didn't know what to do. I drove around for hours. At one point, I parked outside our house and just sat there, staring at the door, trying to figure out if I was crazy or if the woman I loved really had been building a way out, while I thought we were building a life. I needed help, but I didn't want to involve family. I didn't want the shame of explaining that I'd been sleeping beside a stranger. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I hired a forensic accountant. Quietly, privately, I sent over all the data. Statements, invoices, emails. It took about a week. And when he called me back, His voice was calm, but heavy. "This wasn't just hiding a little money," he said. "She built a whole structure. Multiple fake clients. Dummy emails. The account she's using? It has over 50,000 in it now. She's been cashing checks under aliases tied to your LLC. I asked him what it meant legally, and he said it was murky. Because the LLC was under both our names, she technically wasn't stealing it, was more like manipulating. But it could be grounds for financial misconduct in divorce court. Divorce. That word hit me harder than anything. I hadn't said it out loud yet. Not even to myself. I didn't want to believe that's where this was going. That night, I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed to be sure. I needed the full picture. I went back through our messages, our photos, our shared calendar. That's when something clicked. There were weekends she said she was at her sister's. But there were no texts from her sister. No pictures, nothing. One time, she said she went to a wellness retreat, but her email showed a flight to Miami. I cross-checked that date with the banking records. A $2,800 charge at a beachfront hotel, paid from the secret account. I felt sick. I'd been lied to so many times, and I just believed her. Trusted her. I kept telling myself, she's just stressed, she needs space, she's working on herself. But she wasn't working on herself. She was working around me, building freedom with money I thought we were saving for a home, or a child, or our future. And all I could think was, what else don't I know? I finally reached the breaking point one Saturday morning. She was in the kitchen making pancakes, humming to herself like nothing was wrong, like she wasn't secretly laundering money out of our lives. I looked at her and wondered, does she even remember who we used to be? The couple who stayed up late on the couch with takeout and big dreams? Or was that just me? I decided it was time. I sat her down at the table, calmly, and slid a folder across to her. She looked confused at first. "What's this?" she asked. I said, "You tell me." She opened it. Bank statements, fake invoices, screenshots of her travel bookings, the Miami hotel receipt. I watched the blood drain from her face. She didn't even deny it, just sat there in silence, eyes wide, lips slightly parted, and I waited. After a long pause, she said, "I was scared. I didn't know how to tell you. I thought I needed something for myself." I asked her, "Something for yourself? Or someone?" That question hung in the air like smoke. She shook her head, but her eyes said more than her mouth did. I don't know if she had another man. I don't know if the trips were with someone else or just escapes from a life she didn't want anymore. But at that point, it didn't matter. The betrayal wasn't just in the money, it was in the secrecy, the planning, the cold strategy behind every lie. I told her I'd already spoken to a lawyer, that we'd be separating our finances, starting immediately. She asked me if this meant divorce. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. She knew. The thing is, I would have forgiven her for almost anything, bad decisions, even some dishonesty, but I couldn't forgive her for turning me into the fool in my own life, for building a second life on the ashes of my trust. Over the next few weeks, I began the slow, painful process of untangling everything. Joint accounts were closed. Business was split. I took back control not just of the money, but of my peace. She moved out eventually. No big fight. No dramatic scene. Just two people who once loved each other now reduced to signatures on a document. And as strange as it sounds, the most painful part wasn't losing Harriet, was realizing she had already left long before I found the folder. Now, I live smaller. I track every cent. I don't hand over blind trust anymore. But I'm free. Not because I walked away with revenge or victory, but because I finally saw the truth and didn't look away. They say love is blind, but it shouldn't be deaf, dumb, and bankrupt too. If you're in love, Love hard. But never stop listening to the silence between the smiles. Sometimes, that's where the real story is hiding.